going on, guys? This is Burrs here to talk to you today about the Rockwell Tactical 201 course that I took. It's the Carbine 201 course, which obviously is going to relate to a rifle of some sort. You can bring your semi-automatic rifles, and they're going to teach you the ins and outs of them real briefly. But what this really is about going over barricades, shooting on the move, being very proficient in those situations. So we're going to go through some of the footage and talk about what's going on. I took footage of pretty much everything, so we should have a good amount to talk about. So first off, what we got here is we have Jared Ross. He's the lead instructor. Red is the assistant instructor at this course. He's in the background there. And what Jared's going over here is you start out going through a classroom environment. And it's going to be about a half an hour. You go through the basics. He's going through what we're going to cover. He's talking about the gun, how it's going to work in relation to your sights. So we're going to sight in the guns, but he's talking about, holdovers, and he's talking about, all that stuff. If you have this zero, this is your point of impact, etc., etc. Because one of the things we're going to go over first is zeroing in your rifle. Beyond that, now he's talking about, what we're going to do as far as stance goes. I'll bump the camera like a professional. We talk about stance and how to hold the gun and how to drive the gun. That was a real key the whole weekend, was driving the gun forward, driving the gun to, your target, and keeping it on target. So once you fire that first shot, what's going to happen is the gun's going to tend to come up a little bit. So what Jared's going over is, driving the gun forward and talking about sights and such. From there, what we were doing is we went out of the classroom, went to the range, got all our stuff together, got all geared up into what you want, and here we are zeroing in our rifles. This is about 50 yards, give or take a little bit. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going to shoot a few groups. First thing of the day, first drill of the day, what we're doing here. And the thing that I'm noticing is I haven't really had my gear on too much recently when I've been at the range. So what I'm noticing is, it's a little bit different on the shoulder, as far as the placement of the rifle, the sights, etc. So I had to work that out a little bit, but no big deal. Once we got once we confirmed our zeros and such, what Jared started talking about was holding the rifles, low ready, high ready, and the such. And what we're going to do here is a few, warm-up drills, kind of like, basketball, football. You got to warm up before you go tackle, the practice. So what we're going to be going through here, and Jared's kind of talking about bringing the gun up from the low ready, how to keep your, your sights where you want them to be. And what we're going to do is do a string. We had a few magazines of, I believe it was 10 or 20. And, just basically bringing the rifle up and one shot on target and just continuously doing that. Basically to the pace that you could handle. And we'll talk about that in the future a little bit. That was the one thing that drove home the whole weekend, was get out of your comfort zone. Drive that gun and really, try to go as fast as you can go and go beyond that. Fail a little bit, and so that's what we're going to start to do here. So here I am, I'm at the line. This is, I think, the first or second drill, and Red's there to my left, the one instructor. He's talking about, he's kind of observing at the moment, but what he's noticing is, hey, your holdover, you got to hold it a little bit high, and I'm telling him, hey, yeah, no, I have a 50-yard zero, so this close up it's a little bit low. But in my training, I'm used to just putting, the sights on the target and squeezing the trigger. I know it's going to be within a 4 or 5 inch height of where my center mass shot is going to be. So I don't do holdovers if it's not related to headshots in my training and practice. So for me this whole weekend, it was really challenging to, get those perfect center of mass shots because I'm not used to doing holdovers. And whether that's a right thing or a wrong thing, it is what it is. But the whole weekend I really had to put forth the effort to remind myself, hey, you want to hold a little bit high, a few inches high so that you get that center of mass shot, you get that head shot, groin shot, whatever you're looking to do as far as the drills are, or even in real life. Honestly, you want to make those shots count, and that was one thing I just had to work on the whole weekend. We transition here to another drill. So what we did was the first drill was low ready, bringing up one shot, center mass, and then we moved on to control pairs. And I went through things relatively, obviously slow paced, but initially it was definitely something where I wasn't going as fast as I could. Here's Jared, he's stepping over, taking a look at what I'm doing, and honestly I didn't even notice he was over there until he kind of put his hand on me and started talking to me. And what he was telling me here was, your manipulation of the gun's great, but you really gotta, let's work on you driving the gun forward. I was more of a stand-up position here, and what he's telling me is, get into that stance, get a little bit of bounce in your step, in your position. Put your left foot forward, your right foot back a little bit, and lean forward. And once I did that, I could definitely tell a huge difference. I don't know why the whole weekend, not the whole weekend, but the first day, and this is why I tell you guys you should really videotape yourselves shooting. For some reason, I got a half chicken wing going on. I'm not exactly sure why that was that way the first day, at least on these drills, but it's weird because my brain always is a stickler for trying to keep that chicken wing out, or chicken wing in, closed tight. So here we're moving on to Jared telling us about the next drill. And actually what he's telling us here is get out of your comfort zone. You see, some of you guys, you want to look good. You got real tight groups, and we don't want that. I want you to push that gun and push yourself as much as possible. And he's kind of going down the line and telling us about that. So here we are doing another drill. This is the continuous 5-shot group, or 5-shot drill. So basically we're doing a continuous repetition of 5 shots. So you don't want to go bang, 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 bang. We're trying to do it as fast as we can, yet as online as we can. So bang, 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 bang. A nice rhythm to the shot. So that's what I'm working through here. I think Red was telling me about something. I don't remember exactly what he was talking about. But this is the point where during the drills where I said to myself, all right, we're going to try to get outside my comfort zone a little bit, go a little bit faster. You want accurate shots, but you want to get out of your comfort zone a little bit. So the instructor is saying, ready, go. And so that's what we're going through here. I did relatively well as far as that goes. I definitely had a little bit of a spray going on, which is good because I knew, where my maximum, speed was at, so we could dial it back in. So we took a break. Here I am. I'm getting set, checking everything and making sure we're good to go. We're going to do the half and half drill. Now, if you guys haven't looked that up, you should really check it out. It's a good drill to do. VTAC drill, if memory serves me right. And so what we're going to do is that drill. So what it is I forget the exact yard lines, but at a further distance, you're going to shoot 5 shots, 10 shots. You shoot 10 shots in 10 seconds. You move in halfway. You shoot 10 shots in 5 seconds. And you move in relatively close. You shoot 10 shots in 2.5 seconds. We're doing this on day 1, and then on day 2, we're going to verify and see how much better we are on day 2, hopefully. So here we are at the medium range. We're going to shoot 10 shots. This is actually kind of funny because the one thing that I'm doing here is we're going through this drill, making sure we have a 30-round mag because I got 10, 10, 10, 30. And here comes my buddy here. We had to have a buddy the whole weekend, so Mike was my buddy. So here's a 2.5 second one. And what I did was I didn't get the safety off, so I aimed and wasn't able to pull the trigger because the safety wasn't off. I had to flick it. I don't know if I actually made it in 2.5 seconds. I'd have to look at the time, but I blazed off the last 10 rounds, and everyone kind of looked over and laughed at me. And Red came over and was like, "Yeah, the same thing happened to your buddy when he did it too." So everyone's all amped up. You get that close in, and things happen when you actually start to get into situations. Stress is involved. Things happen. So it's good to train. So here's Jared. He's going through and telling us about movement. So this is where we start to talk about the movement. So we got the foundation down. We did a lot of the drills in relation to foundational drills and understanding the gun and your body and your positioning. So now what he's doing is he's going into movements, and that's the next thing that we're going to go through here. And the whole weekend on, the instructors did a great job of instructing, discussing, training, going through things methodically. And the thing that I think sets apart Jared is, actually, I'm wrong here. This is actually a different drill. But this drill is you're at one side and you need to identify and then take the shot. So left, right, or behind, and you're going to identify first, and then you're going to aim and shoot, which is very important. You don't want to just shoot at anything you can't identify. So this is really good because we're using the Rockwell tactical targets, which have a bunch of shapes and colors on them. So the instructor is yelling out yellow circle, and then you have to identify yellow circle and take the shot. And they have numbers on them too, and that will really screw you up because you're at such a distance. You gotta figure out what the number is and where it is. So here's Jared. He's kind of looking at what I'm doing. This was a number one because it took a while to figure out what number it was. But so what you're doing is this is good for identification basically. So we're moving to different sides. This is the left side. That was the right side that we just did. So we're gonna do the same thing, and we're going through and doing control pairs on the target, and we go through and do different things. I think one was control pairs, one was a continuous string of 5, one was failure to stop drills, where you do 3 center mass, 2 to the head, 2 to the groin, which is a failure to stop drill. So we do that one coming up here. But here's the one from behind. This one's rather difficult, and I actually did it wrong as far as like which side I turned to, and Jared had to kind of say, hey, you gotta turn to the other side. I'm not going to go into too many details about what you learn because you really got to go to the course to know that. It's not like you're going to be a genius by watching this review. But this was really interesting because there's a lot of movement involved in trying to figure out what it is. So your back is to the target and you're trying to figure out what it is. So this was definitely an interesting drill and one I've never done before. So we took a quick break, and during that break, Jared came over and said, listen man, you guys got to turn it up. You got to turn it on. You got to really put into this positioning or these drills that your loved ones' lives are on the line. You really got to turn up the intensity. I want to see you guys, turn on that switch. So he was going through that right now, kind of amping us up to a degree, which I could appreciate. You want to go as hard as you can. And in this next drill is when we do the failure to stop. So that's 3 to the chest, 2 to the head, 2 to the groin. And the reason that is because you never know what people have on. They could have helmets on, body armor of some sort. And doing a failure to stop drill, you're positioning, you're shooting things differently. So you're shooting the chest or the center mass. If they have body armor on, you're shooting the head. If they have a helmet on, you're shooting the groin. So you're hitting something that is going to stop that threat that could potentially be coming at you. So this was a drill where he was like, hey guys, you got to turn it up. And here we go with movement drills. So now I'm incorrectly saying that earlier I was wrong, but now we are talking about movement. So he's talking about movement, how to move your feet, how to walk, how to keep your eyes on the target. And he's specifically saying, do not cross your legs. It's horrible. You're going to fall down. And also don't go backwards. That's a no-no because you're going to fall down. So there's things he's covering here. And he's talking about, trying to be a turret right here. And he gave excellent instruction throughout the whole weekend as far as demonstrations go. He really demonstrated everything, as well as you could, in my opinion. So here we go with live fire. This is basically shooting on the move forward. Control pairs, and the instructor is going to say at different times, shoot, and you're going to take those shots. The interesting thing with me, at least on this one, I think it's this one, is when I ran out of ammo, I started my mag change. I moved a little bit, but then I stopped. And Jared came over and was like, move, keep moving forward, because you always want to stay on the you don't want to stay on the X, so to speak. You want to keep moving. So that's what this drill is all about. Move forward to another round, and the drills you might be seeing me show one or two, or one time or two times doing things. But we did things multiple times. I ran through about 800 rounds through the weekend. It's a 1,000 round requirement. I ran through about 800. I heard other people say between 700 and 900. So taking 1,000 rounds is never going to hurt. So we took what we learned from the movement drills and we started doing to the side. So here we have me to the side shooting the targets on. This is on an angle. It's not straight on because you couldn't turn your body that much. But so we're moving to the right and we're moving to the left. You have your buddy there, and your buddy's always going to call out the shots. So target 1, target 2, target 3. And this was really interesting because you really get to know how much flexibility your body has, which mine in certain directions has none. But you always had an instructor walk down with you and kind of help out and correct you if needed. So we moved on from that to this drill, which is a moving VTAC 1 through 5 drill, which is really interesting. I've done it in the past. I forget exactly how fast I've done the 1 through 5 in the past. I think 2.2 seconds or something like that was probably my fastest. I have a video on it a long time ago when I ran it with an AK. But the thing is incorporated here is movement. So you always want to be moving while you're doing it, which you can do the 1 through 5 drill real easy standing still, but when you start involving movement in it, things start to change, and you really become a much better shooter when you incorporate. Jared's saying something to me here. I don't know what the hell I did. I did something where I realized I was doing something and I corrected myself, and he was saying good job. But you really become a better shooter, in my opinion, when you start to incorporate movement, because movement is the name of the game. When stuff starts happening, you're gonna start moving. It's just natural, and to incorporate your firearm skill into that is, if you don't do that, you're really doing a discredit to yourself. So we move on. This is one of the last drills of day 1, and we're doing just another. I think this is control pairs or single shots, and we're just doing movement. So we're doing moving forward. We're doing again, then moving to the side like a turret. We're gonna go back and just continually do this, back and forth. And it's just really what I noticed was day 1 sets you up for day 2. Everything builds upon each other. So day 2, this is where all the stuff that you learned day 1 is really gonna come into effect. So I'm going through this drill. And I tried right here to do the turret thing, and I did horribly. And I was like, dude, my legs are crossing. There's another way you can do it where you can just kind of just move side to side. But here's Red, one of the instructors, saying, one of the ways you can do it, and that way you're always moving straight, is to keep your toes pointed. So he was kind of going through that and instructed me on that technique because he saw that. And I said to him, I screwed that completely up. So day 1 concluded. Here's Jared kind of going over day 1, talking about what we did, talking about why we did it, and talking about his thankfulness that everyone listened and drank a lot of water. It was like 95 degrees or something. I mean, it was just blazing sunny and just ridiculously hot. And here I am complaining like a girl, like, oh, it was really hot today, and I was so tired, and I need a pillow. Anyway, I look hot, right? So day 2 is going to start here, and Jared is kind of going over the same thing. And each day, I was really happy to see each day that Rockwell went that extra length to talk exactly about what's going to happen if an emergency happens, if some sort of a discharge happened and someone was injured. I need everyone to do this. I needed everyone to do that. I need some people to do this. So very, 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 mindful of safety, which was great. So what we did then is, again, we started with our warm-up. Now, obviously, we went quicker through this warm-up because yesterday we went through it. We're much better shooters on day 2 than we were on day 1. So we were going through these drills a little bit quicker, and that's what you want. You want to get that spread going on the target. So we're going through, I think this is just single shots, and you have a magazine of 20, go at your own pace. I obviously was going a little bit quick, and again on day 2, the other instructor, I forget his name on day 2 because we switched instructors, the assistant instructor, he comes and said, hey, your holdovers, you need to hold over. And again, the whole weekend, I really had to work on that because I'm so used to, again, just holding center of mass and just pulling the trigger with my targets. So we moved on from that to a holdover drill. So this is basically just an 8x10 piece of paper, just a letter-sized piece of paper with some targets on it that are real small, and they're lined up against each other. So if you shoot the target on the top with a 50-yard zero at this range, you're probably going to hit the one right below it. So we could go to our own pace. I was doing, I think, shots of 4 on each, and it came out that the ones I was shooting was pretty much dead on as far as my holdover was concerned. But this also really showed you, how well you're able to hold the gun. So Jared came over and took a look at my targets here. He's kind of telling me, like, yeah, your stuff's straight on, and I was telling him that by the end, I think there's 2 or 3 shots that are right off the target there. I was telling him my arm was getting a little tired holding it up. But so what we moved on to then was the barriers and barricades and obstacles. So we put the obstacles up. Jared's here talking about technique and talking about if you're here, what you want to do is this. Here's what you want to do in here. And I really appreciated the way he went about that because he always was saying, this is the way I'm going to train you. There's many different ways to go about it. And the one thing, that he was just saying was, you can do it many different ways. This is one way. If it works for you, it does. If it doesn't, either we can talk about some other ways, or maybe there's another, way that'll work for you. And really trying to work with the different bodies everyone had. Everyone has a different body type. So, for 75% of the people, it's going to work. But so here I am doing some live fire with pieing, doing some pie. Wasn't eating some pie, which I wish I would rather have been eating pie. But so here I am doing some live fire, just getting those reps in. And if you played sports or anything like that, you want to get repetition of what you're doing in. So sometimes I would jump in the line, do things twice, just to get that extra rep in. So here I am, and we're doing left side and right side. So if you go through this course, you're going to do left side and right side shooting. So if you haven't done that, I recommend before you go, doing some training with that and practice. Jared was joking with me here, and he was like, hey, it's a lot easier on the right side, huh? I don't do a ton of left side shooting, but I'm okay. So here we are, we're doing left side kneeling, and he's kind of reminding me of hey, if you engage one target, then try to move out and engage the second target. So even if you say you do get one thing down and he sees you're doing a decent job, he'll push you to a degree to do something above and beyond and a little bit extra. So throughout this one right here, he was coming up to me and saying, all right, well, now you engage the first target, so now do that and engage the second target, or put 2 shots on the first target, 3 on the second. So he's trying push you a little bit past where you're going. So here we're doing the stand up, all right, kneeling to standing up on a barricade, and he comes over and he says, put 3 on this target and 3 on that target. So he's kind of, just trying to see how you would react to different situations. And honestly, I think he was trying to see if you'd listen, which, by the second day, day and a half of training, you're drinking through a fire hose, as they say. So he's doing the same thing here. He's like, you've engaged the first target, that same target now for 3 or 4 times. Engage the first target, then engage the second target. I think I have a reload on this one, actually. Or somewhere around here, I got a reload. But, yeah, so, just pushing yourself and just doing the repetitions. And that was the one thing I really appreciated from Rockwell Tactical was, if I had to go back through a line, or I wanted to go back through a line and do it again, no problems whatsoever. If I had a question and I wanted to get clarification on something, or say, hey, I can't do this the way you were training or the way you were teaching because of whatever reason. The one thing was one position on the ground. For some reason, I couldn't do it very well. Excuse me. So So Jared said, hey, you know, why don't you try it this way? And that way worked a little bit better for me. So even if the way that they were showing you was the way they wanted you to do it, and they had other ways in their toolbox to show you if you're unable to do it a certain way, because there's usually multiple ways to do things. So here Jared is using a different obstacle, and he's talking about, you know, if you have your gun on the side, here's how you want to go about shooting. Here's where you want your point of aim. Because obviously you gotta aim differently if you have your gun on the side, because the sights are they're horizontal now, they're not vertical, so it's a little bit different. So he was going through that and showing us, you know, this is the way he's demonstrating here. And here we go, we're moving into live fire. This was actually one of my favorite live fires, because you're so far, I mean, if you don't do this stuff normally, you're so far out of your comfort zone. I mean, you have the foundation and everything, but this one thing coming up that they call broke back, which is shooting under a car as an example, you can actually see me, because I've seen this video a couple times now. You can see me kind of breathe, just like getting myself ready, like a deep breath, because I'm like, I'm gonna fucking own this position. So I go down through here, and the one thing that, like I said, I wasn't able to do it very well the first time, and Jared said, push yourself more on an angle. So I did that and got in position, and I think within probably 20 seconds I had this shot off, and you know, there were dead nuts on shots, and I accomplished it. I did really well, and I was really happy with how I, you know, got through that. And that's why I was telling him right there, I was like, yeah, what you told me when we were going through dry fire about the angle was really helpful. So here we are, we're just going down through stuff, and we're just jamming the shit out of stuff, because I got a grip stop. If you don't have one of those, you better go get one, because they're amazing. Just the amount of different stuff you can do to them, using them on barricades, the control you get with your gun. Obviously you guys know I love grip stops. So this is the other really crazy position. This is like shooting from a curb. So if you have curb for cover, or like a real low thing, and you need to make a hit, obviously my elbow's up here. It should be lower, but you know, this is the position. And he was talking to me, and I said, are these hits on target, because I didn't see any dust? And he said, put some rounds up here in this one area, and I'll let you know if they're on target. I think I hit, as far as like dead nuts on, I hit 1 out of 3, but 3 out of 3 were hits of some sort. So this is moving towards the end of day 2, and this is where you start to get you get a feel for how you're gonna do under pressure. So we've been doing the other stuff kind of like walking up to it, doing it. There wasn't too much running or anything involved. And here we hit, we have a buddy drill, right? So, you know, you and your buddy are gonna go down through the range one at a time, cover fire, suppression fire, and all that stuff. So while I'm here having cover fire, my buddy's gonna walk up there, or run up there, and once he starts firing, it's my cue to take off and go to the next barricade. So I do that. I'm not sure exactly what happened on the other side, why this didn't go faster, but I got to the lower position, and I felt like I was there forever. And that's gonna come up here. I don't know if maybe he had a problem of some sort. I didn't check with him, but so, you know, we're shooting, and the really cool thing I like about this video angle is I can see that my shots are dead nuts on with the dust that's kicking up. So when I go to that lower position, and I'm shooting, we weren't able to use steel targets for some reason at this range. So that's one thing that Rockwell uses, so that you have a audible hit. So now that I'm watching this video again, I can see that when I'm shooting, these are good hits. And I was asking my instructor, who was standing right behind me, I was saying, hey, are these hits on? Are they making their way there? Because when you're at that low of an angle, you can't see the dust up top, you know, kicking up. So I was just asking him if that was a good hit. So something's going on with my buddy here. I'm not sure exactly, but I'm still doing cover fire. So he starts to shoot, I take off. And the thing is, you really want to figure out what you're going to do before you get there. So as you're running up to something, you better get your mindset on which position you're going to use. So now what this is now we're doing movement drills. So we're doing control pairs on all the targets, left to right. When you get to the right target, you're going to dump the magazine. So I only had like 4 or 5 shots left in my magazine, which I dumped into this guy. And I wanted to get all Rambo on him. So I reloaded and tried to shoot again with my instructor was like, hey, we're done. So here, this is actually a competition, right? This is dude against dude. And you're going to go balls to the wall. Whatever it is what it is. So they set the course up pretty much the same way as it was, but with the end being a failure to stop drill that was graded. So by the time you run down through this, you do all your different shots, your heart rate's just jacked up, and you're not going to have the best shots possible. So you really, as far as your mindset goes, have to push yourself through it. I actually had a problem right here where I don't know exactly what the problem was, and Jared was watching me the whole time, and he's like, I'm not seeing what the problem is either. I just kept getting a click. So I'd magazine in, I'd charge the weapon, click, magazine in. So I did that a few times, and at one point I was like, I'm fucked, because I knew I was not going to win at some point. But you continue through it. You push through, you do your best, and you never stop. If you stop, and it's just not a good thing. So I get to the other side, left-hand side on this drill here. You run the last cone, you do a fair stop drill. Fair stop drill is 3 to the chest, 2 to the head, 2 to the groin. I had 6 or 7 shots in the dead nuts on. So if I would have had a good time, I might have had a chance to win. But some other guys did great, and obviously someone else won because I had a malfunction, which I got teased about. Obviously. But that was a lot of fun. That drill was definitely a lot of fun. So all in all, I mean, it was an amazing course from start to finish. Very well organized. Very well as far as knowledge goes. You're drinking through a fire hose at sometimes if you haven't done this stuff before. Timing was great. We started when we said, we stopped when we said, and if you needed some help, you asked for it, you got it. There was no one, and the instructors were exactly this way. We are the same as you. They were very humble people, very helpful. And, I came away a much better shooter at the end of the weekend than I was at the beginning of the weekend. So I really recommend, if you guys are looking for a course, to check out the Rockwell Tactical course. They have many different courses. I was very impressed with how it was run. I was really impressed with, honestly, the different range of people that were there. There were people there that were, probably in their 50s and 60s, maybe even 70 with some cases. I mean, they weren't able to do some things, but they were there doing what they needed to do and really trying to improve themselves. And props to them for going out and trying to improve themselves. That's definitely something that I can give props to. But that just goes to show you, you have people there in their 20s and people there in their 70s, and everybody got the same treatment, everybody got the same help they needed if they needed it, and everyone went balls to the wall and kicked some ass during this weekend. So it's really impressed overall. So if you guys want a cool place to go to get some training with some top-notch people, check out Rockwell Tactical. I'll put all the links down below. Thanks for watching. Until next time, later.
Good luck to all.
What happened?